Now, to a very special homecoming that you will only see right here on 8. Our cameras were there as the teen survivor of the Kalamazoo shooting spree left the rehab hospital and returned home for the first time since that horrible night 2 months ago.
24-Hour News 8 Susan Samples is live in Battle Creek near Abbie Koff's neighborhood. Susan?
It is coincidence that today marks 2 months exactly since that night in Kalamazoo. For a time that night, it seemed Abbie Koff might not return home at all. But today, her family allowed 24-Hour News 8 cameras to follow the strong-willed 14-year-old as she proved otherwise.
Oh, good. You get to walk out.
Last trip down a hallway that's become home, steps forward in this extraordinary journey, leaps really.
Let's go. We don't need that sneaking wheelchair, do we?
After 6 weeks of nearly daily rehab, Abbie Koff said goodbye to Mary Freebed in Grand Rapids and headed to a home she hasn't seen since before the night everything changed in the parking lot of a Cracker Barrel restaurant. It was exactly 2 months ago that 5 women were shot there. Abbie, the only survivor. Shot in the head. At one point, her parents thought they had lost her forever until her mom thought she heard a heartbeat. She was right.
Oh, honey, I'm so good to see you. I missed you. I missed you so.
I missed you too, Nana.
Yes. Got tears in my eyes.
Back home now in Battle Creek.
I love it.
What do you love most about being at home?
I'm with my family.
Her family, her cat.
Hi, kitty. Is it okay if I pet you?
The family's pet pig wasn't quite as cordial. And watching the chaos from above on the living room wall.
Barb, she was an amazing woman, free-spirited.
Barbara Hawthorne, the family friend who was with Abbie that night.
And I'm gonna miss her horribly. And it's still hard to talk about her because I miss her so much. I think about her all the time.
Hawthorne wouldn't let doctors work on her until she made sure they knew how to reach Abbie's parents.
I will love her forever. In heart and in spirit. And she always has been my angel. And the only thing I can say is I love you, Barb. And I will miss her.
So will Abbie, who called her Grandma Barb. Abbie has not talked in any detail about that loss or the events of that night, though she does know that a man shot her in the head. She has a long road and lots of outpatient rehab ahead. She still has a feeding tube in, and she still faces reconstructive surgery to replace the missing portion of her skull. Abbie's family has started a Facebook page and a GoFundMe site where you can follow her progress and help support her recovery. You'll find those links at woodtv.com. For now, we're live in Battle Creek. Susan Samples, back to you.
Boy,
Yeah.
she does have a long ways to go, but it's amazing how far she's come in 2 months' time, Susan.
Yeah. That a big step today.
Unbelievable. Her mom stopped short of calling it a miracle, but she said it's great doctors and it's an incredibly strong-willed 14-year-old who wasn't ready to go.
Now to the extraordinary journey of a West Michigan girl who's become a symbol of hope against the odds and the power of a mother's love.
The 14-year-old girl whose heart stopped after a bullet pierced her brain in the Kalamazoo shooting spree reached perhaps the biggest milestone yet. Abbie Koff's family allowed 24-Hour News 8 Susan Samples to be there when little Abbie went in for surgery to replace the missing portion of her skull.
Susan joins us tonight with this amazing story.
When a gunman randomly shot 8 people, killing 6, hearts were broken across West Michigan and prayers said too. West Michigan continues to embrace and support Abbie and her family, and they want to give back now by sharing their journey with you.
Now, do you want to keep Sharky with you? Are you sure? Okay.
In a pre-op room deep inside Kalamazoo's Bronson Hospital.
It's just gonna be a little bit cold.
On a recent early morning.
Wish me luck today.
Countdown to surgery.
But the plan is basically opening things up, putting the plastic plate in instead of that bone, and then closing things up with stitches this time.
The operation will fill in the portion of Abbie's skull previously removed to give her brain room to swell.
Okay, any questions?
No questions, despite plenty of nerves, and not just moms and dads.
I'll talk with you afterwards. All right. Any idea how long this will take? Long enough to get done right?
This was 14-year-old Abbie the day before the surgery.
I'm scared I'm gonna die on the operating table. But Mom told me that if I was gonna die, I was gonna die the first time.
Thank you.
Which made me feel a lot better.
The first time,
Kimsey County 911.
nearly 3 months ago now.
I'm at the Kalamazoo Cracker Barrel and there's been gunshots in a car.
Inside that car, Abbie and a group of older ladies,
Barbara, stay with me, okay?
including a friend so close to the Koff family, Abbie called her Grandma Barb.
Still with me, Barbara? Barbara, still with me?
Police thought Barbara might live,
The grandma's okay.
but not Abbie.
The little girl's not gonna make it.
And it looked that way to Jean and Vicky Koff, too. They thought she was gone.
It's probably a good assumption.
Dr. Gregory Wiggins was on call the night a bullet shattered Abbie's skull, the night her heart stopped. But minutes later, as her mom laid her head on Abbie's chest, it beat again.
I was surprised.
She's something special.
Wiggins had never seen anything like it.
Okay, out we go. Okay, Miss Abbie?
Be good, okay?
Ready?
See you when you come out.
Love you, honey.
Now, for the next hour and a half, her life would once again be in Wiggins' hands. And despite his assurances to the Koffs that the risk was low,
How do I feel? Nervous. Worried. Just hoping everything goes all right now. Until I see her out of the operating room and in a bed and breathing and in front of me, I will probably not calm down.
there has been little calm for the Koff family, despite the strength Abbie's regained since these earlier days.
I absolutely love it.
You absolutely love it?
Yes.
That's cool.
Let's go.
Despite being released from Mary Free Bed in Grand Rapids. Abbie still needs 24-hour care, has a feeding tube, intense headaches, itching.
Good? Where else?
All over.
And recently, seizures.
That's your first electrode.
But news after the skull surgery was good.
Things went very well, as expected, because it was a bullet. Everything was stuck to everything, so it took a little longer than I expected just to gently bring the scalp off.
Sigh of relief. I want to see her.
The surgery should return Abbie's skull shape to normal, but it can't repair the damage to her brain.
Is she going to have a full recovery? It's probably unlikely she's going to have the same life that she had before this. Is her strength and objective findings going to improve? Absolutely.
Wiggins wonders if Abbie will struggle with seizures for life, perhaps keeping her from driving. And the bullet's path.
The bullet entered just left of midline.
Might change the once quiet, shy teenager's personality.
She's smiling.
Forever. Abbie's sweet reaction to a visit from one of her favorite doctors post-surgery.
I'm here as a friend.
Proof she's not afraid to show her feelings.
You are just so cute, little girl.
How's your pain?
Abbie spent 3 days and nights at Bronson, but is back home tonight recuperating in Battle Creek. The Koffs hope you will continue to follow Abbie's recovery through the Facebook page and GoFundMe sites they've set up. They are grateful for the kind words, prayers, and support. It is so enormously helpful to them right now. And Brian and Sue will have those links inside the story at woodtv.com as well.
Now to an update on the teenage shooting survivor whose story has captivated West Michigan and the world.
It's been 2 weeks since 14-year-old Abbie Koff had surgery to replace the missing piece of her skull.
24-Hour News 8's Susan Samples was there today for Abbie's first checkup since that operation. Susan?
3.5 months after the random rampage that killed 6 people and injured 2, including Abbie, the Koff family continues to want to share the good news of Abbie's recovery with West Michigan.
You know I love you.
I love you too.
Another checkup in an endless string.
One brave, strong little girl.
The difference this time.
Are you happy to get some of your stitches out?
Yeah,
Abbie's hoping to get rid of the stitches from her skull surgery.
because they itch.
Yeah, the healing process is causing it all to itch.
Doctors approved the removal of most of the stitches, but not all.
We talked about leaving that side in another week, just because that's where the exit wound was at. And the bullet did so much damage on that side.
At one point, the night of the February shooting rampage, police thought that bullet would end Abbie's life.
The little girl's not going to make it.
But her heart started beating again, and now, 2.5 weeks after doctors inserted a plastic plate to replace the piece of her skull missing since the shooting.
I feel normal.
But doctors say things will likely never be exactly as they were. Abbie has not suffered any seizures since the surgery, but she still has migraines often. And Abbie herself, once quiet and shy, is now outgoing, even outspoken, and more affectionate than ever.
She hugs all the time. She squishes, and I love it.
Of course, her family too is forever changed when her mom had to let someone else take Abbie to a recent appointment.
All I could think of is having her with somebody else, and she wasn't with me. I couldn't protect her. And now I don't trust anybody to be able to protect her.
Despite not getting all of the stitches out, doctors at Bronson Hospital today were very pleased overall with Abbie's progress. The teen's days are still filled with therapy and doctors. Though she is at home in Battle Creek now recovering, she hopes to return to Harper Creek Middle School in the fall. And again, the parents hope that you will still follow her progress on their Facebook and GoFundMe pages, which are on her website inside my story.
She looks remarkable.
Doesn't she look great? Her skull looks fabulous, and yeah, she's great, doing great.
Yep.
Such a great positive story, and we need more of those.
Yeah, we'd love to see her back at school too. I think that'd be a nice milestone for her.
When a part-time Uber driver shot 8 people at random in Kalamazoo, the miraculous stories of 2 survivors became a source of hope and inspiration. But tonight, a setback for one of them. Our cameras were there today as 14-year-old Abbie Koff prepared for yet another surgery. 24 Hour News 8's Susan Samples reports an infection forced doctors to remove a plate in Abbie's skull.
Then what they're going to do is they're going to take these 2 orange pieces off.
It's a drill no teenager should know so well.
So we can fill this with medicine.
But Abbie Koff does.
I'll be fine, Mom.
I know you will. Why will you be fine? Because you're a warrior
princess.
That's right.
The Koffs had hoped that doctors at Bronson Hospital would decide the infection wasn't too bad, that they wouldn't have to remove the plastic plate they'd inserted in Abbie's skull last month.
A little change in what I was hoping to do.
But the infection turned out to be MRSA, and it was too deep. They would have to remove the plate that had returned Abbie's skull to normal shape.
Not what we were hoping for.
No.
But, like I said, it's a setback. I don't think it's a devastating setback. It may be a social setback, especially for a 14-year-old.
Especially because no plate means Abbie will have to wear her helmet for 3 more months to protect her brain while she heals.
Thank you. I love you. I love you too much. So much. You want a hug? We're so brave. And do you know that? And I am so sorry.
It will be fall before doctors can try again, reinserting another plate, hoping that next surgery is the last. In Kalamazoo, Susan Samples, 24 Hour News 8.
Sending them our best wishes. Doctors say the infection will not impact Abbie's recovery long term, but the delay will keep her from returning to school this fall. If you want to help support Abbie and her family, you'll find links to their Facebook and GoFundMe pages in our story on woodtv.com.
Just like the stories of Olympic athletes triumphing over adversity, the journey of a teen who survived a bullet to her brain has inspired West Michigan and the world. Abbie Koff's heart stopped and restarted last winter when a gunman randomly shot and killed 6 people in Kalamazoo. Since then, the Koff family has given 24 Hour News 8's Susan Samples unprecedented access to document her miraculous recovery.
The Koff family shared their disappointment in June when Abbie developed an infection that forced doctors to remove the plate they'd inserted in her skull. Now, Abbie is waiting anxiously for the day doctors can put that plate back in so she can get back to living life like any other teenager.
But we need to have that skin area heal up.
At this week's checkup,
because we're going to be increasing the volume here by putting a plate in,
Abbie hoped Dr. Greg Wiggins would set a surgery date to reinsert the plastic plate.
My biggest concern is Abbie's head not healing right and her not getting her plate and her being stuck with no plate.
It has been a long summer, and Abbie spent most of it wearing a protective helmet.
I want to be normal.
She sees people playing and she sees kids outside riding their bikes in the neighborhood, and she wants to be like them.
She won't be able to go back to middle school either until she's had the surgery.
The biggest thing is infection risk.
And Wiggins won't set a date for that surgery until Abbie's current incision is completely healed.
I don't think it looks particularly bad, but it's not, it still has that scab, chronic, non-healing area. Until that's completely clean, we can't put a piece of plastic in because it's going to get infected.
It was disappointing news for Mom and Dad, too.
It would be better if she was whole.
For Abbie, no surgery date felt like no progress.
You haven't said anything.
She's been very depressed lately.
Yeah. It's okay. I mean, I wouldn't call that depressed. I'd call it normal.
I wish I wouldn't have gotten shot.
It is all uncharted territory, of course. How does a 14-year-old recover physically and emotionally? Abbie was sitting in a restaurant parking lot with 4 women when a gunman randomly shot them last February. The women were all killed, including Barbara Hawthorne, who Abbie knew as Grandma Barb.
Abbie and I just talk about her all the time.
Hawthorne was Vicky's best friend, the one the Koff family turned to in times of need.
I love you. I love you too. Just gotta give it time, okay?
Abbie was in 7th grade last year at Harper Creek Middle School, and the family is awaiting results of testing to see what she's retained academically. You can follow her progress yourself on the family's Facebook and GoFundMe pages. We have links at woodtv.com. The Koffs are grateful for West Michigan's generosity, which is helping them pay the bills as they focus on Abbie's recovery.